Hey, what up, my peeps? You got the sides coming at you. Big shout out to the Crap Nation crew. What up, Crap Nation people? So, yeah, I just want to give you my 2 cents on the chopper, and what what I've experienced using it and what I think about the toss, and just a little bit of input and background. Well, first off, I've been watching the latest installment of dice tossing techniques done by the G-Man Gargoyle and the production manager. Big shout out to Jeff Mid Atlantic Crap. So excellent job in putting together the whole show. Didn't watch it live last night, but I got to watch it later on. So anyhow, my 2 cents on the chopper is I've been tossing this toss now for close to about 4 years. I originally learned the toss from Cashier Cage, and I have consulted with Cage back and forth and learned everything possibly that I can about this toss from Cage, and I've took it and made it my own. Now, that being said, I know some say that what I'm tossing is not the chopper. Come on, G. But anyhow, that's neither here nor there. I love this toss. I love the fact that you're applying side spin when you toss this toss, which is not an easy thing to do. And actually, as you all heard Cashier Cage say many a times over and over, the grip with this toss is quite problematic. It's either feast or famine. Either you have a good grip and you release it correct, and the dice land smack dab flat and dissipate all that energy and trickle up to the back wall, or they land and go cattywampers and you end up with a shit sandwich and normally a 7 out. So like I said, I've been tossing this toss now for coming up on close to 4 years. Learned it from Cage back 2020 when all of us was in lockdown during COVID, and started picking his brain and learning more and more and more about the toss, and it's the only toss I toss, okay? Period, point blank, okay? I'm not trying to master a whole bunch of different toss. This is it, okay? And it's been a hell of a journey, and I've been enjoying the ride. Sometime I go to the casinos. Well, those of you that follow me know every now and then I go in there and I get a good lick in, and every now and then I go in there and get my ass kicked just like everyone else. So if it was a sure thing, we'd be calling the casinos ATMs. So, all right. So that being said, and I know Cage and G got a little beef going on, guys. I'm not part of that. Those two gentlemen will settle their differences however they seem deemed necessary at some point in the future. But me, I'm friends with both of them. Big shout out to G, big shout out to Cashier Cage, and look forward to shooting with them in the casino and hopefully making a shitload of money, because those guys, as they, go back and forth and disagree amongst themselves, guys, the focus here is the casino. The casino is the bad guy, okay? That's what we need to focus on, getting the money. Let's go, as Arnell says, let's go get the moolah, and that's what I'm about. That's what I'm focused on. And like I said, I've been taking all my instruction and dice tossing techniques from Cage for the last 4 years, and I feel that I've come a long way, but it's taken a long time to get where I'm at. And I'm happy with the toss that I toss. You know what? And I'm gonna say something else too. If it's not the chopper that's being tossed by myself and Cage and whomever else, by applying side spin and getting the dice to fly, trying to get them to fly side by side, I'm gonna call it the Chopper 2.0 because I think the way that Cashier Cage tosses this toss is better. Okay, it's a better toss technique than probably the original. Like I've always said, Cage may have not originated this toss, which he's always said. He learned it from G, and G said he learned it from VDC, and I think the story goes VDC learned it from someone else, and you know. But you know what? I dare to say Cage has perfected the toss. Now, it's the only toss that you see Cage toss 24/7, period, point blank. Okay? The man looked like he stays up till friggin' 4 o'clock in the morning, tossing the chopper, reviewing his toss and all that shit. And incidentally, so do I. But, you know, I'm out here in the backyard, so I normally get to operate from about 4 o'clock in the afternoon till about 8, 9 o'clock at night to the latest, because after that, you know, got the neighbors around, don't want to piss anybody off. All right. So, like I said, you know, this isn't to take a dig at G or anything, but like I said, I think this toss that I've learned from Cage and what Cage is tossing, because he called it the chopper, so I learned it as the chopper, and now G says that, well, that's not exactly the chopper, and you know, well, I dare say it's the Chopper 2.0, because I think this toss is a better toss than anything that I've seen with stacked dice out there, flying in perfect synchronization, getting to the back wall and trickling up. So what I've learned, okay, in shooting the chopper and picking up from Cage along the way is a couple of characteristics of the chopper, simple characteristics of the chopper. One, being able to minimize bounce and roll out. Okay, in order to do that, you got to have flat landings. Okay, flat landings is the key to success with the chopper. If your dice ain't landing flat, just give it up, you know. And the same can be said for when you toss in par or GTC. You know when you toss them dice proper, you get a nice clack. Okay, anybody that watches George from CY Nightly know exactly what I'm talking about, because George, when George laid on those dice, you know, you get a nice clacking every now and then. You know, when they go off kilter, you don't get that nice solid clack, but probably 90% of the toss that George toss when he those dice hit the landing zone is a solid clack. That means they're landing flat, and that's what I strive for when I throw the chopper 2.0, if I'm not tossing the chopper. Okay, but like I said, I think it's a better chopper. That's one characteristic of the chopper, the flat landings and minimizing bounce and rollout. Okay, because you don't want the dice to hit the table and just go cattywampers. Okay. Two, good rotational control. You know, again, it's kind of hard to see that when you release the dice. However, going back and checking for your pitch control, using a nice slow-mo cam every now and then will give you, you know, a good idea of your dice staying in perfect sync, which goes a long way for when they get to the landing zone. Because of the minute they leave your hand, they're out of sync and, you know, doing what the hell they want to do. Well, shit. When they hit the table, they're going to do what the hell they want to do anyhow, you know. So at least try to do your part in providing some type of, dare I say, influence and control on the dice when they, up to the point of when they leave your hand till just when they get to the table. Because when they get to the table, we all know all bets are off. Okay, then they're going to do what the hell they want to do. But I dare say by bringing the dice to quicker stop, okay, by controlling the dice scatter, by controlling the rollout, okay, gives you probably a higher degree of hitting primary numbers, okay? Which again is another characteristic that I strive for when I throw the chopper. Again, I learned that from Cage, okay? Guys, it ain't just about taking up the dice and throwing them, okay? You got to know what you're throwing them and looking for. You got to be looking for something, or else hell, you're gonna fall for anything, and think that, oh, my toss is great, because you apply side spin and the dice leave your hand and go down there and hit the landing zone and scat all over, but you got anything but a 7. You're happy with that. I get it. Like Ed and everybody always says, shit, nobody cares how pretty the dice look when they fly through the air. We get paid for those top numbers that's facing upwards. However, you need to do your part in trying to ensure that those dice stay in sync, or at least look good flying through the air, which means you did your part in providing the proper influence and control on them up until the point they hit the table. Okay? Then, like I said, the flat landings. Okay? And I've always said, think of it this way. If you took a big ass rock and threw it in a pond, I could flip the camera around and throw something in my pool. But not gonna do that. Okay, too much work. If you took a rock and threw it in a pond, you're gonna get a big putoosh, right? Because the rock is gonna hit the pond and try to dissipate all the energy all at once, and it's gonna radiate out some big ass waves. When we all were kids, and some of us probably still do, we used to like to take and skip rocks across the pond, okay? Well, that's what we do with the chopper, okay? Or chopper 2.0, okay? Because, number one, when I throw the chopper, I always strive, okay, and what I've learned from Cage is to strive for landing the dice at least, anywhere from the minimum distance to the back wall is going to be about anywhere from, say, 15 to 36 inches. That's the minimum distance. That's as close as you want the dice landing, okay? Because you got to give them enough space, as Uncle Mel would say, to let them breathe. You got to let them hit the table and trickle up and get to the back wall to dissipate that energy. If you hit the landing just right, they're gonna touch down smack, and then they're gonna trickle up to the back wall, nice, gently, and then lay down like 2 flat tires, just tap the back wall, okay? So, again, flat landings is another characteristic, like I said. And again, the closely cropped dice. I know some people like, what the fuck you mean closely cropped dice? Who gives a rat's ass if one is, up against the back wall and the other one is halfway down the other side of the table? Well, again, these are things that you trying to impart your control onto the dice by getting them to do what you want. If you're not going to do that, if you're not trying to do that, and you're just worried about, the dice going through the air, hitting the table, and then fucking flying and going wherever they want to go, then hell, all bets are off. Why even practice? Why even practice a control toss if you're not trying to impart some type of control? And in what I do when I toss this toss, okay, the chopper 2.0, is when the dice hit the table, I want them to stay, I try my best for them to stay closely cropped and come to a quick stop, providing less chance of randomization from the original preset, whether it's a 2v3v kissing set. I know Ed hate that that kissing set thing. That's what I'm trying to do by providing control over the dice, by getting them to stay closely cropped and not come off the back wall and go cattywampers all flying all over the table. Guys, you got to have some type of discipline, okay? If you're trying to impart control, i.e. influence onto the dice, you got to know what you're looking for. If you're just throwing the frigging dice, picking them up willy-nilly and throwing them, and they're going all over the fucking place, then, oh well, you know, shit. Why even bother? I can tell you, I get out here every day, twice on Sunday, yes, twice on Sunday, and practice my ass off 24/7, okay? From about 4 in the evening, well, during the day, I get out here a little bit earlier, you know, I practice once before I go out there and, you know, get my little workout in for about an hour, then come back, and from about 4 till 8, 9 o'clock in the evening, I'm out here flinging these damn dice, practicing this toss, okay? So, does it make me a subject matter expert on this toss? Hell no. It just makes me a practice shooter on tossing this vertical, horizontal side spin toss, okay, that we all call the chopper, okay? So, anyhow, let me see. I got a little note here. Let's see. Yep, closely cropped dice coming off the back wall, and which leads to less dice scatter. You don't, okay, let's talk dice scatter. You don't want the dice fucking flying all over the place, okay, being scattered all about, you know. Then it's just as bad as a random toss, okay? I mean, yeah, to some degree, we all probably shooting a controlled random toss, but I dare say the more you can provide your control, a little bit more control, versus just flinging the dice down the table and they scatter and fly all over the table and roll halfway back down and all that shit. That's not providing, that's not showing any control, okay? And for a practice shooter, I would dare say you would want your dice to land and stay nice and tight. Again, I go back and say, look at George from CY. Hell, George is there every night, twice a day, every day, twice a day. Okay, you can catch him in the morning and evening. You know, I normally catch him 12 o'clock at night, then again in the afternoon when I get up. However, you know, look at George's dice when they land. They land and they stay, for the most part, 95% of George tosses stay nice and tight. That's what we strive for, to be as a control shooter. Again, I would say, look at Cashier Cage. When he throws the chopper, them dice land, smack, solid, flat, and trickle up to the back wall. That's what I strive for, okay? Every now and then, I get it, and I would say, no, I don't give myself, but, you know, I do fairly decent at it. I ain't gonna say that doesn't happen. It probably happens maybe about 7 out of 10 times, maybe every now and then. Like the last video I posted up, I had a 36 rolls, and I went back and looked at it, and you know, the dice actually, they look solid in the landing. A lot of the landing was flat. Some of them came up short, which is gonna happen. But again, I was happy with it. You know, this is what we strive for, guys. You got to know what you're striving for. If you're just picking up the fucking dice and throwing them down the table and, you know, watching them go willy-nilly, I'm sorry. You're just shooting. You're just shooting dice, okay? You know, you're just about as close to random as you can. And another characteristic of the chopper is trying to hit those repeating number. You know, by for a given set, if you got a 2V, you know, you're looking for 4s and 10. If you got 3V, we're looking for 6 and 8. You know, and cross 6s, you know, the 5s and 9. You know, again, these are things that we practice for. And the same goes if you're shooting GTC or PAR. My guess would be you should be looking for those same exact characteristics. Period. Point blank. You know. Yeah. No shit. We all trying to avoid the 7, but again, on your control dice influencing journey, you know, trying to become a better shooter, you should be trying to use a given set and see if you can, dare I say, snipe a number. Because guess what? Every now and then, you know, especially for myself and a lot of us out there, we're trying to hit that ATS. You know, wouldn't it be good to know that if you need a 2 or a 10, not a 2 or a 10, let's not have a bad idea, a 4 or a 10 for the ATS, you know, you can set to a 2V with confident, whether you single pitch it forward or single pitch it backward, and hit that, you know, give yourself a higher probability of hitting that number, you know. I mean, again, yeah, you may call it sniping, okay? But guess what? If you've been using a 3V cross 6s, all that shit, and you're hitting the number, and you need that 4 to hit the ATS for the all, hell, why not just go to the 2V and try to hit it? So, as a practice shooter, you know, I know some people say, oh, don't change the set, don't change the set. But you know what? Like George from CY have always said, long as the dice are correlated the same way, okay, you know, you keep the 7s in the same place, you know, it doesn't matter because you change the setup. If the 7 was going to come, 2V, 3V, cross 6s, the 7's in the same place, providing you set the dice up, you keep the correlation of the dice the same way. Okay, so anyhow, all right. That's my 2 cents on the chopper. I think I covered all the points. I'm going to just hit them up again. Being able to minimize bounce and roll out, okay? All right, when I say chopper, let me just quantify that with 2.0, okay? Because I think if the chopper been around, Cage came out, taught me the chopper, you know, what we've been calling the chopper. Some say it's not the chopper. I dare say call it the chopper, but I'm going to quantify with a 2.0 because guess what? The updated version is always better than the old version, okay? So, being able to minimize bounce and rollout, good rotational control, okay? Your dice flying in sync, flat landings. Gotta have those flat landings. And closely cropped dice after the dice hit the table, bringing them to a quick stop at the back wall without a bunch of dice scatter. Because if you got fucking dice scatter, you're really just randomizing the shit out of the dice then, you know, which again happens. But if you could throw 8 out of 10 toss without dice scatter, you probably have a higher degree of, you know, hitting primary numbers using the preset that you set for, whether it's 2V, 3V, whatever, you know. So, all right, that's been my 2 cents on the chopper. I'm gonna stop here, and was gonna go right into another video, but I'm gonna cut this short because I've been running my mouth here for a bit. So, all right, that's been the Saj. Yo, that's my 2 cents on the chopper 2.0. Saj out.